Continuing the dinim of davening, Ashir Volotzion. Again, after Tachnun, you say Ashir Volotzion. You're supposed to have kavanah, especially when you say the pasuk of Ashir Pesechas Yadecha, because again, like the first Ashir, you need to have kavanah. Okay, then we talk about the Tachnun stuff. Okay, now you're not allowed to leave shul before Uvolotzion, before the Kedusha Volotzion. Some people are careful to say it with a minyan. In our circles, we're not that particular to say it with a minyan. Okay, then you finish up davening. Now, Aleinu l'shabeach, it says you have to be very careful saying Aleinu l'shabeach. You should say it with fear and awe. Why? Because Yeshua ben Nun instituted Aleinu when they captured the city of Yerichai. And then he said, Aleinu l'shabeach l'adayin hakol. As we learned, the second part of Aleinu is even more important than the first part. Whoever watched by the Rebbe, the second part of Aleinu, Baal Kain, took much longer than the first part of Aleinu. First part of Aleinu went quick, but Baal Kain and Kavalacha, you saw that he said it very, very slowly.
Do we know why? Yeah, why is it
there was because the whole thing is L'saken il Malchut Shindal Yud, to make the world good with the, it speaks basically about loss and love. There's a whole story in L'Kutei Deburim. In the time of the Baal Shem Tov, one of the priests wanted to make a decree against Aleinu, and the Baal Shem Tov did thing anyway on his way to the podium to make the decree against Aleinu l'shabeach. He just died. He just died. And but there was a whole gzeira. Baal Shem Tov was very much involved in nullifying the decree. It's a story in the Deburim to nullify the decree against the saying of Aleinu. Therefore, because Aleinu is very important, the din is like this: if you come into shul and you already davened, you already said Aleinu, so the din is you say it with a minyan. There's a discussion in Poskim: do you have to say the whole Aleinu, the first paragraph of Aleinu? It's a similar question by Shema. If you walk into a shul and they're saying Shema, do you have to say the whole Shema, or is the first paragraph enough? Bottom line is there's certain things that when the minyan says, you have to say it even like Avinu Malkeinu, like I mentioned on the fast. I said, even those that daven mincha already should say Avinu Malkeinu with the minyan. There's certain important things it says in halacha, even if you said them already, but if you're coming to the minyan and the minyan is saying it, you say it again with the minyan. What?
Let's say the minyan's ahead of you and you don't have to shema. What do you say? Do you say just...
Depends where you are. If you're in Psukkah de Zimra, you put your hand over the eyes and you say Shema Yisrael Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. If you're in Birchas Krishma, then you just put your eyes over your head. Your hand over your eyes. You put your hand over your eyes and then you just say what you're saying in the tone of Shema.
Why?
Because you don't want to show that you're not accepting the yoke of Hashem.
Why do some people say Asher Kaddish? They say it loud, and Asher Volotzion, and they say Volotzion. Some people say it loud, Kaddish, 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 and they say Baruch Shem Kol Malchus. It's just a minute.
Baruch Shem Kol Malchus, but Birch Yikol Hashem Yaseh Be'Shchinte. Okay.
But why some people say? Some
people like to hear themselves.
No, I mean no, it's brought down because Aramaic. Kaddish, 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 Hashem Tzavos Tzavodo, and then they say Baruch Kavod Hashem Komo. They say it then. And they also say sometimes they have to.
You don't have to say it loud. They say it loud because they want to hear themselves.
No.
Yeah.
It's a repetition of the davening.
No.
People say it.
Okay. Anyway, when a person what?
Let's say you're behind and you don't tell Aleinu or you're already.
And you don't say Aleinu. Only if you're davened already, and then you say it. Okay. When a person leaves shul, you're not allowed to run out of shul. You're not allowed to run. With psia gas in the shul, for sure you're not allowed to run. And it says parents have to teach kids not to run in the shul. But you're not allowed to run because it looks like, it's a burden to be in shul. You're running out of shul. But that's only if you're running to business. If you're running to go, let's say, Beis HaKnesses, the Beis HaMedrash, if you're running from the shul to go learn, so then because you're going to another mitzvah, so then it's a mitzvah to run. But when people leave the shul, you're not allowed to walk quickly out of shul. You have to take it slow.
So, Rabbi, if you're davening slowly and you're up to Volotzion or Shir Shalyom, and the minyan is saying Aleinu,
If you're in a place where you're allowed to talk, you say Aleinu. Not if you're in Pesukah Zimra Birchas Krishma.
You said you don't.
No, if you're, it depends where you are in davening. If you're allowed to talk, let's say by Asher Valatzian, and the minyan's saying Aleinu, you say Aleinu with the minyan. He was asking if you're like in parts of davening that you're behind it, you're not allowed to talk. So then you can't say Aleinu Shabech.
Suppose from an you must say Aleinu with the minyan.
The din is you're supposed to say it with the minyan.
Even if you're like 30 seconds away?
If you're 30 seconds away, no, it depends, because it depends how fast the minyan says Aleinu. Because generally you'll still be saying Aleinu. If people are Aleinu out the door already with the finished davening with the tefillin and the talis and they're already Aleinu out the door, then the Ubers are waiting. Yeah, then you got a problem.
So you're saying kava and they're saying Aleinu. What should you do?
Technically, you could say Aleinu. If you're almost there, the minig is that you don't, because you're saying it. Huh?
You need a minion to say Aleinu?
No, but you need a minion to say Kaddish. You don't need a minion for Aleinu. Okay, let's go weiter.
No question.
What?
You say that
Let's
that's
say
right.
in Meyer, if they're out of you, and they get up to Shema, do you have to cover your eyes?
Where are you up to in Ma'ariv?
I don't know,
V'rachum, then you say Shema. Then you say the pasuk Shema.
And then what if you're up to this first bracha?
So then you put your hand over the eyes and you continue davening, because you're not allowed to talk over
When
there.
you say on us like that, we have to have a kavanah and everything.
B'sechas Yedacha.
Oh, bepotechet yedecha?
Yeah. 3 things are ma'akiv. First pasuk of Shema, first bracha of Shemona Esrei, and B'sechas Yedacha. Those 3 things you must have kavanah for that little bit.
Davening to daven.
Right. Okay. Now, the dinim of Kaddish Yosem. Yeah? Okay, shh. There's a lot of Midrashim stories about how Kaddish was beneficial for the person and the son for the parent and so on and so forth. Okay, like we learned that the Kaddish saves the people from the punishment of Gehenim. That's during the first 11 months. On the yard site, what's the purpose of saying Kaddish on a yard site? They're definitely not in Gehenim anymore. Because after max is 12 months. But afterwards, what do you do? So it says in halacha and Kabbalah that because the neshama, the yard site, has a special aliyah more than regular, so to help the neshama with its aliyah from level to level, so then you say Kaddish. But Bechlal is brought down, interesting din, in Shulchan Aruch, that if a person, even though Kaddish is very beneficial for the neshama, but it comes nothing to the behavior of the person. He says, ain't that Iker. Kaddish is not the Iker. This is a reading from Kitzur. The Iker is that the children should go in the proper way. That's the biggest chus for the parent. How do you do it? Like it says there, it says by keeping mitzvahs, being a nice person, behaving properly. That is much more important than Kaddish. For instance, it says in halacha, a lot of times people have yard site and they end up fighting for the Yomid, fighting for Kaddish. Years ago, it's not like today, even all places. But I remember growing up, even in my father's shul, a yard site had a Kaddish that would, at one time a Kaddish that would bring on the table yard site, and only the yard site said the Kaddish. In fact, halacha discusses how many Kaddishim does he get, and what's the din. Today, everybody says a Kaddishim. But the worst thing somebody could do is to fight. No, this says in Shulchan Aruch, by the way. To fight for Kaddish, or for the Omid, or for that, it's more detrimental than the benefit that you would have by doing it. Okay, so now he says like this.
Previously, only the person that had...
Yeah, there was a time only the person at yard sale would say at least one or 2 of the Kaddishim. No, it's not Chabad. Chabad doesn't do it.
It was a halacha thing, Rabbi.
For the year, you wouldn't say Kaddish if someone else had the yard site up?
They would leave out one Kaddish, only the yard site said. One of the Kaddishim, only the yard site said. Today it's not done anyway. I haven't seen it done lately for many.
What was the reason?
Because it's a yard, huh? Yeah, Switzerland they still do it. But only one Kaddish, not all the
The
ones.
Germans, no?
But it's brought down, Rabbi, in halacha, no?
It's brought down in halacha.
So it's not like, it's not a Kabbalah thing. It's
Yeah, even Kitzur brings it down. Yeah. In middle of Shiva, he has all the Kaddishim. He pushes away all the other available. They don't even say Kaddish. Afterwards, he has one Kaddish. There's the whole thing in halacha. Bro, today nobody does it. Everybody today, except maybe the Yakis. What I've seen, at least in many places, even when there's a yard site, everybody says the Kaddishim. But for the Yomid, there's an order in who davens for the Yomid. L'mashal, it says, what happens if two people have yard site? And they both want to daven for the Yomid. So what do? So there's a lot of dinim. So for instance, a member has preference over a non-member. A person who davens regularly in the shul has preference over somebody who doesn't daven regularly in the shul and comes, I want the Amid. Then you have a din of in middle of Shloshim and yard site. It's interesting. In middle of Shloshim and yard site in halacha are equal. The minig is yard site to go, but I'll be halacha. It's not so simple. They're equal. Teich Shloshim and a yard site is both equal. Who has precedence of the Yomid? There's a lot of things. That says a lot of times you make a girdle, make a lottery. Who should get? It says interesting. Even if somebody's saying kaddish for two parents, and one's saying for one parent they're equal. Two parents doesn't make the obligation more of the kaddish because one kaddish goes for both. But then you have an interesting shaila. What happens if a father tells the kid, "I don't want you saying kaddish for me"?
He's still saying.
No, money. Poskim hold like this. It depends. A lot of poskim write, you listen. The father is kibbut aveim. He says, "I don't want it. I don't want you to say kaddish for me." But some poskim write, what happens if there's other sons, and the father picked on this one only not to say kaddish, but the other sons are going to be saying kaddish. So then there are poskim that hold. Then you don't have to listen to the father. Why? Because then they're going to say something's wrong with this kid. This kid's a mamzer, or this kid is this and that. So then you don't have to, because it's embarrassment to the kid.
Isn't it a benefit for the neshama though?
Huh?
Isn't it a benefit for the neshama? I'm saying.
What?
The father says don't say kaddish.
No.
Let's say the son does say it because it's a benefit for the father.
But there's another thing. What happens if the son says, "I'm not saying kaddish. Can Bezin force him?" Okay, to be continued.